Alright people, day has finally come. I have here a full 2-inch body lift for the truck, and I think that's where we're going to start with the suspension on this thing. I'm fighting a lot of rubbing now that I've gone to these super wide tires, and I've been looking and looking and looking and couldn't quite figure out what I really wanted. So with doing a little research on the Xterra forum on Facebook, I kept seeing this dude's name keep popping up, and I finally decided to, give it a shot. So I reached out to him, and he shipped me one over super quick. I think I had this within 2 days. And I'll put his name and kind of more information about him later on, but I'll put his Facebook down in the comments below. This is something you guys are looking for and like how it works and stuff, and I'll give you some more information later. You guys can go down and hit him up. So in his kit that I got from him, I kind of got everything. You can just get the lift itself, or you can get some extras. I just decided to do the whole thing for the purpose of this video. So with that being said, he sent me out an extended radiator line, so I don't have to make that or make custom brackets or anything like that. That's super cool. We also got lift blocks for the front bumper. You can see they're already spaced out to lift your bumper up, and so I got those as well. All of our hardware, it's all nicely separated, that way you have a better idea of what's what. Washers, locking nuts, some more spacers, and then 10 2-inch lift pucks. They seem to be super stout and seem like they're going to hold up a long time. A lot of people who've got this kit before and has been running it for a while say they absolutely love it. It's one of the best ones you can get if you're just going to do a body lift. Let's go ahead and get into the prep of my truck so we can get this 2-inch lift kit installed. So yeah, so basically within that we have to remove everything that would be connected to the frame of this truck. I think I'm just going to throw you up on the GoPro and just do a time lapse of some of that, and then go back through and quickly piece by piece show you every spot that you're going to need to do some work on or to wash. So I'm going to throw you up on the GoPro and we'll just do a time lapse. Okay, so I think I finally have all the prep done. I'm gonna watch one more video just to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I will walk you through the couple of things that I had to take off and a couple things you need to look at and to watch while you're putting the lift in. So first and foremost, you will have to pull your grill to get access to the top brackets for your bumper. So go ahead and take that off, take your bumper off, take whatever wiring or anything that you have connected for your fog lights and stuff like that. Just go ahead and just disconnect it and pull it all out of the way. So you're gonna remove the mats from there because they're bolted from there to there. So you're gonna get rid of those. And if you swing back around, you will have a plate that blocks all those connections right there. 2 bolts. You can take that plate off, which you can see right there. So you'll take that plate off from back there, and then you'll disconnect a bolt here and here, and that'll basically keep this free to rise. Now what you're gonna do from there is follow your frame on the other side of this frame right here all the way back to the end. So you'll pull out 5 10mm bolts off your frame on the inside going all the way back, and you're just going to follow those brake lines and fuel lines all the way back to the end. That way when it lifts it won't pull. Back here, the only thing you're really going to watch is your filler neck for your gas line. It is connected back in there, and then it just kind of free floats. I think I'm going to pull this plastic out of the way since it's all broke anyways. But it just goes in and goes up on the body to here, and this is where it's mounted at. So you're just going to kind of keep an eye on it. I think from what I've read and what I've seen is it has enough space in there. You just want to keep an eye on it. And then I've also seen somebody say that there's an evap line back in here somewhere. I haven't located it yet, but I'll just keep an eye out back here, make sure nothing's getting tight or anything like that. Pull your rear bumper off, and you'll have, obviously you guys should know, 3 bolts either side, these little brackets. Pull that out, disconnect your wiring, and then moving to this side, the only thing that you're going to have on this side is 1 10mm for your e-brake line, which are back here, but it'll be like center door of your driver door, should be right there on the other side, and just unbolt it. And that's the only thing that I've seen connected to the frame on this side. You will, like I said over there, you will have another dust shield. Go ahead and disconnect that as well. So underneath you'll have to disconnect your cradle for your drive line, and that'll just be 2 14mm bolts on either side. And in your hardware they'll give you spacers so you can put it back in, and all that thing's going to do is basically it's just a secondary safety system for if your drive line was to ever break at the U-joint, it would drop down in the cradle instead of falling on the road and causing more problems. So you're going to have 1 body mount there, 1 body mount here just behind the driver's seat, 1 body mount right here under the rear passenger, 1 body mount right there in the rear corner, and 1 body mount in the front corner, and they're identical on either side. 2 and 4 you'll get from the top. You'll see here, and there's that. They'll be covered with some like a plastic cap. Just get like a hammer and a chisel or a flathead and get it there and chisel that out. We'll give you access to the top. So this is under your driver's side, and the passenger one will be the same way, in the same spot. And then rear driver is under the seats, which mine are pulled, and same thing, it'll have a cap and chisel it out, and that'll give you access to that. So now in your engine bay, what you're going to want to do is remove your power steering reservoir from its cradle, loosen or just take the clamp off of your radiator hose, that way it's free. I've already had to replace my core support and it doesn't really set in there, so it's free to move anyway, so I'm just going to see what it's going to do before I really get too far into it. For people who have perfect stock trucks, you will have at the bottom of this fan shroud, there'll be this little plastic piece that goes underneath that. You're going to want to take that out. Do not forget that, because the minute you turn this thing on, it's going to destroy your fan and your shroud. So remember to take the bottom piece off that. I went ahead and pulled my whole air box out. You don't really have to, you just need to loosen right here. but I went ahead and pulled it out because, as you can see, I need to get in there and clean anyways and redo put in a new filter. So I just went ahead and removed it, but you don't have to. And back here on your rear firewall, you have your lines for your heater core. There'll be this little clip right here, which I just broke mine off. You want to take that clip off so your hoses are free to move, and just keep an eye on them when you start to lift your truck, because these are just plastic inlets and they will get brittle and break. So just keep an eye on that when you go to lift the truck. But so that bolt right there on your steering shaft, they're just threaded, and they're a collar. So what you want to do is just loosen that one there, and there'll be one right there. And you just loosen both of those. That way it gives the shaft, they're on a spline, so they'll just kind of shift and lengthen, and then when you're done, just tighten them back down. But that's the only other thing that you have to loosen up, and then the rest of it should be fine. So yeah, so once you have all those things loosened up, you should be good to go. Just keep an eye on, just jack it up a little bit, go around, check everything, make sure nothing's still caught, and then jack up a little bit more, and kind of that's what I'm going to do, just to keep an eye on everything, make sure you don't want to like pull something or break something or whatever. Just double and triple check all the way around, and yeah, we should be good to go. So I'm going to get started on loosening up all the body mounts on the driver's side and putting in those pucks. We'll see how this goes. Alright, so a little update. All the pucks are in. I had to fight a little bit on the rear on a couple of them just because it is a little tweaked back there still, but I got everything in. So now I'm going to go back through and make sure everything's tight and put all those lines in the small tins that we took out and see if I can get some of those back into their spots. If not, it's not the end of the world. They're pretty well where they're going to be. They're not going to move that much. And then we can start buttoning up the engine bay a little bit, seeing where we can get some of that stuff put back to. So this is where we're at. All the blocks are in and everything's pretty well lifted and stuff. I think I'm gonna have a ton of clearance now. All right, so I think I'm just gonna call it there for tonight. I don't really want to work on trying to fit the rear bumpers and the front bumpers and things like that. So I think I'm just gonna finish tightening a couple things up. I'm gonna finish buttoning up the engine bay and getting some of that stuff back into its spot, and tightening up all of the bolts underneath and putting the cradle back on. And for that, I'll show you the last couple pieces that come in your kit if you decide to order this from Mike. So and the radiator hose, I figured out what to do with that as well. So all right, so this is the radiator hose that will come with your kit, and I messaged Mike real quick just to make sure I was telling you guys the right thing. Basically what you're gonna do is figure out the best way it's gonna fit for your top line, which to me it looks like it's pretty much gonna be like that. So what we'll do is we'll connect on one end, set the radiator in the spot where we want it, and then we'll just trim off the rest that we don't need. So this will actually be for your top hose. These two bolts with the spacers are going to be for your cradle for underneath, and we'll go ahead and reinstall those. Welcome to day 2 of the lift on the Xterra. So I've been out here puttering now for a little while, just tightening things up, putting stuff back together. I went through and tightening down all of the body mounts. I had to run out and I figured why I was under there. When I put the cradle back in, I had to move the plate for the fuel filter. So I figured why I was down there and I had to remove it anyways to go ahead and replace the fuel filter. And I went out and got a new air filter because I realized how much mud had gotten stuck in mine, and maybe that's where some of my gas mileage went to. I don't know, we'll find out. And then got some more coolant from when I had to change the hose just to kind of top it off a little bit. So yeah, so we got all that stuff back in, and I've been working on fitting the bumper back on, and yeah, we're almost done. So with this kit, you'll see you get these bumper relocation brackets, which basically will just space it up. So all it's gonna be is this 2-inch square tubing with some holes drilled in it. We'll have 2 longer bolts, and then you'll have this cylinder. And what you'll do with that is set the cylinder inside, run your bolt through. I chose to put a washer on top just because the holes in that bracket are a little bit bigger than the bolt head. So put a washer, put a bracket, and tighten it down. So bumper's back on, then we'll put the grill back in, put our lights back in, and it should be good to go. All right, so underneath your truck, I'll show you this real quick. I've already put it back in, is your cradle, or whatever you want to call it. I'm just calling it a cradle. And then up here is where you'll put your hardware. You'll have a bolt, and then it comes with a 2-inch spacer. So you put that tube in between that and the floor, bolt it in, and then that'll give it the space so it just doesn't suck up all the way. So that's all you got to do there, and get that put back on. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is my e-brake line. So we're gonna go back through and just remount these back to the frame and bolt them back on. So then we'll do the same on the other side and bolt our fuel lines and brake lines back to the frame back there. So I'm just gonna jump back into this and get this finished up, because unfortunately I do have to drive this to work tomorrow, so I need to make sure everything is gonna work so I can get to work. So I'm just gonna jump in and finish it, and then I'll update you at the end. All right, now you see, just out of the garage, all buttoned up. Let's take a look at it. Don't mind the bumper, I still need to adjust that, but I don't have time today. All right, there we go. It's now been, I think I've been driving on this for 7 days now. I just really wanted to get a good feel for what it was gonna do, and so far I haven't had any problems with it, so it's been great. It's funny how only 2 inches will make such a big difference in everything, and makes it feel taller. I wasn't really expecting on being able to feel it, but I did, so that's super cool. So huge shout out to Mike May. I will link his Facebook down below. Just DM him and he'll kind of give you a price breakdown of what it is, the extras you can add on and things like that. So go hit him up. Mike, huge thank you for this. Really enjoyed it. It was way easier than I thought it was gonna be. And yeah, so go hit him up, go get your body lift. 100% amazing. Also, huge shout out to First Gen Xterra Den, the forum on Facebook. If you guys do have First Gen, if you guys just run an Xterra in general and want to know more about them and just talk to some really good dudes out there who have good first-hand experience with these things and knowledge, super friendly. They'll answer any question you guys have. Just post a little message, throw it out there. You'll have a bunch of responses and be able to fix whatever problem you have or get new ideas for new things you want to do. So I will link all this stuff down in the comments below for you guys to go check out. Sorry if this video was super long. I know when I was doing research for this to figure out things, tips and tricks on how to do it, I had to search and search and search and piece together like 4 to 5 different videos to get all the information I needed. So instead of breaking this up or making it super short and leaving things out, I just decided to make it super long. You guys can fast through it, get it whatever it is that you need out of it. And if you guys made it to the end, good on you. It's amazing. So so if you guys made it to the end, good on you. This is super helpful. Give it a thumbs up, share it, let's get it out there. I've got plenty more of these coming. And like I said, go check out Mike. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.